We talked plenty about the Baton Rouge perspective. Let's head to Gainesville to get the Florida perspective on the Kiffin saga. Our buddy Zach Abelverdi, Gators Online, that's part of On 3. He's also in ESPN Gainesville, hosts the Tailgate. Good enough to join us here on AFR. Hey, man, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Just trying to keep this phone charged.
Yeah, I can empathize. Okay, let's kind of go chronologically because over the weekend there were reports. I don't even know how credible they were, Zach, but there was maybe better to say rumors that Kiffin to Florida was done. Start there, and maybe what led to that perspective that this was a seemingly a done deal with Kiffin to Florida, if it was.
Yeah, that all stemmed from some social media posts and some message board posts that were made within the Florida sphere of, Gator sites and Gators Twitter that kind of created that. There was never a credible report that I saw from that suggested that was going to happen. Now Florida's standing with Lane, I think, has always been considered very well, and there's been reports on that. But that's where all this kind of buzz happened about something going down Sunday. I never thought that was going to be the case. Maybe there was some news and developments that came out, but not a decision made.
Is it fair to say that there is mutual interest, that Florida wants to hire Kiffin and Kiffin has interest in Florida?
Yeah, I reported that on Monday at Gators Online, that there is mutual interest, and that much we know. There has been interest from Lane Kiffin in the past when Florida opened, and that was back in 2021 when it fired Dan Mullen. And there's interest this time around too. And this time around, I think it's more serious, and it's gotten more serious, even though he's probably less willing, I guess, to leave Oxford than he would have been back in 2021 when maybe he was jockeying for this job. Now there's some family dynamics, and his whole family is in Oxford, and as he said, he's in the good old days right now. So it's going to take the right situation to pull him away. But I think Florida and LSU, honestly, are one of the few opportunities that would even get consideration from him.
Yeah, you mentioned the family considerations. There's been a lot of chatter about Lane's ex-wife, Layla, who they've reconciled. Her dad, of course, John Reeves, we've talked about, played at Florida. She went to Gainesville. How much, if at all, do you think that may factor into the decision?
I think it's going to factor heavily. I think that when he decided to turn down Auburn in 2022, which was a year after the Florida job opened up, around that window, he was clearly maybe looking at some other opportunities and kind of, still in that blue blood phase. But I think that his daughter really talked him out of that Auburn job. This time around, I think it's going to be his son. I think that his son, being a sophomore in high school, playing quarterback with aspirations to get recruited, to play at the next level, he's going to have to get in a good situation from a high school standpoint wherever they end up. And if they're going to leave Oxford, and obviously I think that was the purpose of these trips that took place over the past couple of days, was to figure out the lay of the land and see where their son would be going to high school, because that's got to be something that's checked before I think they make a move anywhere.
Yeah. Zach Abelverdi's with us, at Zach Abelverdi, if you want to give him a follow there on Twitter. Gators Online, that's part of the On3 network. Also host of the Tailgate on ESPN Gainesville. By the way, can you fill us into whatever you know? What did who was on that trip in Gainesville and over the weekend, and what did they do?
Yeah, well, you got me at a good time, Matt. I'm actually on my way home right now to write up a story on that.
Okay.
So I don't want to give away the juice yet. So I don't hear it from my bosses. But I can confirm that they were in Gainesville on Sunday, Layla and Knox. I don't know if anyone else were, but I do know that they were. And there's some things that took place. And I would encourage all the folks that want to know what's happened on the Florida side of things, be checking your phones in about an hour at Gators Online, because I will have a story up about this. But it's clear that they are figuring out, okay, if we do this, where are we going to live? Where's our son going to go to school? Who's he going to play for? Is this a better situation than where he's at right now? Because he's got a great setup at Oxford High School. Like, they're in the playoffs. He's playing in a beautiful stadium. You know what I mean? So, like, he doesn't have to go anywhere. But I do think that he is going to have aspirations to play college and get recruited. So he can't go into a situation that's any worse than what he's in.
Sure. Zach, what's the timeline like for Florida?
I think the timeline is Lane Kiffin's timeline. I don't think that this will get dragged out very, very much longer. I think that we could see a resolution during the Egg Bowl week or maybe soon after in terms of him just coming to a decision and letting the parties know. I cannot imagine that this would get dragged out into the postseason and he's coaching in the playoffs and nobody knows what he's going to do. Like, that's not going to happen. Now, what I will say is if he comes out after the regular season and decides to go to Florida and accept the job, but wants to coach his team in the playoff, I don't think Florida would be against that as long as it comes out publicly that he's their guy, for recruiting purposes and what have you. The question would be, would Ole Miss allow him to continue coaching the team if that's the decision that he makes? And I think that's what we're all waiting for next.
I think that's a resounding no. That I don't know if you've heard the same thing, but everything I've heard out of Oxford is there's just no chance they're going to let him coach the playoff if he's not coaching Ole Miss next year.
I would imagine that makes the most sense. It is crazy though, just to think about that could be the decision that Kiffin is faced with.
Yeah, I know.
Having to walk away from a championship team and a playoff caliber team that he's built and miss out on a playoff run to go take a new job. It's wild.
Well, it's the bet he's made, but the truth is, like, he's got three really good options, whatever he chooses. What do you suspect the contract would look like from Florida?
I think that he'll be one of the top three, if not higher, highest paid coaches in college football after this is all said and done. I would say maybe even, number one, number two, but as you know, whatever deal that he gets, there's somebody probably has it contractually obligated that they get to one up whatever deal Kiffin gets from whatever new contract he lands. So he probably won't end up being the highest paid coach, but I think Florida, LSU, or Ole Miss are going to put him up there. He's going to be making more than what he's making now.
It doesn't significantly. It doesn't sound like any of the three is going to be outbid. It's going to come down to whatever Lane ultimately wants to do. The money should be equal. If, let's say hypothetically, Lane stays in Oxford or picks LSU, what does Florida do next?
That would be very interesting to see what direction they would go. There's definitely not another option out there that moves the needle like Lane. I think a lot of Florida fans, it's Lane or bust. And I think for Florida and the administration that they want to make that happen. So if it came to that, it would be interesting to see where they go. I think Brent Key would be one of the names to watch. I know Florida fans really like Lincoln Riley, but I don't know if Florida can get him to Gainesville. I don't know if he wants to leave USC. I really like Jed Fish. I think that he would be a good fit for Florida if they got to go back to the drawing board. But those are some of the names that I feel like make the most sense. But again, I don't think any of those names, other than maybe Lincoln Riley, really does it for the fans. There's so much separation between the guy that they want the most and everybody else.
It is amazing how it's gotten to this point. And the parallel, Zach, with LSU and Florida, both 4 years ago, we're looking to hire a coach. Lane wanted either job, neither was interested. Now both are highly coveting and courting. I mean, what a world that we're in right now. And when that's what I wrote last week at Gators Online leading up to this game is Lane Kiffin went from public enemy number one in Gainesville to Florida's most wanted man. I mean, 16 years ago, he was the most hated rival at the time. I mean, when he was at Tennessee talking crap to Urban Meyer and taking digs Florida fans could not stand this guy. And now you can't find a Florida fan that doesn't want him as their next coach. What a world.
It's amazing.
If you want the Florida perspective, make sure you catch it. Gators Online again. Zach's going to have that story up about the Kiffin family's visit to Gainesville this past weekend. Gators Online, that's part of On3, and, of course, ESPN Gainesville as well. Get him on Twitter at Zach Aberverdi. Hey, man, we appreciate the time. I know it's busy. Thank you, man.
Absolutely, man. Take care.
All right, be well. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.